Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. If you wouldn't mind just coming from the back of the room there, just make your way forward a bit so we can be closer to the action. Apologies, we are running a little bit late. I would like now to just hand over to Cliffy Wilson for a welcome to country.
Alrighty, thank you. Good evening. How's everyone doing? That's good to hear, that's good to hear. I'm very honoured to be here to welcome you to country on behalf of my family, the Ghana people, and also Kumakara Cultural Services, which is a business that I'm fortunate enough to be able to showcase a bit of my culture and language with through work. So I tell people I've got the best job in the world to be able to do this stuff. So thank you for the opportunity, and to welcome you to country, I do want to do that in the traditional Ghana language. So I want to start by saying, Nyanka Nemena, Namani. Nai Cliffy Tunku Midlacha Wilson. Nadjeri. Kana, Naranga, Nadri, Arandamiyu. Marawichanga Gana Miana, Nawanga di Bandi Bunikani Yatana. Nachi Yukandalia Yakandalia, Nachalia. So to translate that, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Cliffy Wilson. I also go by Tunku and Manacha, which are my traditional names. So I'll explain a bit about those. The first one, Tunku, is my totem. Now that could be a native animal, a native plant, something relating back to your cultural background, and we have to protect and look after those in our culture because we believe that just like the animals and the plants, we belong to the country. So we had to protect and look after them just to keep everything in a balance. Unfortunately for me, it was a king brown snake that I had to look after, so I probably got set up with that one, I reckon. There we go. So. Nah, just kidding. But also Manacha is just my birth order name, so each child that the mother will carry through her journey of birth will get a birth order name. Mine is Manacha, which is the fourth born male of my family. And my family are proud Ghana people from here in the Adelaide Plains. We also extend out to the Naranga people on the York Peninsula, the Nudgee people on the Flinders Ranges, the Nuttajeti people on the Lower Lakes of the Coorong, and the Aranda people in the Northern Territory of Alice Springs. So I do want to acknowledge those communities and pay respect to other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people across the country and those who may be in attendance with us here tonight. Also want to welcome each and every one of you here to the traditional lands of the Ghana people and acknowledge they're the traditional custodians to the Adelaide region. Also, I'd like to recognise this place that we're standing on, as well, we all know it as Adelaide. The traditional name for this place is Tandaganya, which translates to the dreaming place of the big red kangaroo. So if you go into Victoria Square, you'll see that's the traditional name for Victoria Square. And I do want to acknowledge that place as well. It's a very important place for Ghana people over the course of history where a lot of cultural practice would have been performed and done there. And before I get out of here, I just want to leave you with two words. The first one, Naichalia. And that just means thank you. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank each and every one of you for giving me the time to showcase my culture and language here as a part of the first generation of my family to be able to do so. And we don't have a word for goodbye. That's a bit too final in our culture. We always think we're going to see each other, whether it's in this life or the next one. And that word is nakara. And that just means we'll see you again when our paths meet. So ladies and gentlemen, Naichalia, nakara. Welcome to country. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for that welcome to country, Cliffy, and sneak it in a little bit. Thank you, Cliffy, and thank you for your voice, and may it forever be loud and clear. Welcome all to the final hours of the History Festival, and also the History Awards of the History Council of South Australia. And be warned, you're going to hear the word history a lot tonight, but it says it on the packet, doesn't it? So there should be no surprises. My name is Paul Rees. I am the Head of Museums, Marketing and Major Events at the History Trust of South Australia, and I am your MC for the evening. We have a lot to get through in the next 60 minutes. I know a lot of you have made the difficult choice to attend tonight and to forego being at the rugby, the league game just down the road. So we will get our skates on, and we'll try and make up some time. And for those who want to rush home and watch it on the telly, of course. And you can probably tell from my accent that I'm not a league fan. Rugby's played with 15 people, not 13. Controversy. In the room tonight, we have representing the Minister for Education, Jeff Brock MP, Member for Stewart, Minister for Local Government, Minister for Regional Roads, and Minister for Veteran Affairs. David Spears, MP, Member for Black, Leader of the Opposition, Shadow Minister for the Environment and Shadow Minister for Small and Family Business. John Gardner, MP, Member for Morialta, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Shadow Minister for Education, Training and Skills, and Shadow Minister for the Arts and Festivals. Karen Redman, Mayor of the town of Gawler. Elizabeth Ho, OAM, Chair of the Board of Trustees of the History Trust of South Australia, and her fellow board trustee members who are present here tonight. Dr. Gillian Dooley, President of the History Council of South Australia, and her fellow Executive Committee members of the History Council, who are also present tonight. Is anyone counting how many times I'm saying history? I hope so. Greg Mackey, OAM, CEO of the History Trust of South Australia. History Guardians, National Trust Board members, Simon Frood, Director General of National Archives, Vanessa Hoitzer, from the Office for Aging Well and Seniors card. Justina Yoakum, board member of the South Australian Tourism Commission and also of the Festival City Adelaide. Jennifer Lather, Director, Arts South Australia. Sean De Bruin, CEO of Tourism Industry Council of South Australia. Welcome all. Please forgive any omissions. You're all special. And you're all our friends, and you're all champions for history, and in all its messy, complex, and competing narratives and stories, no doubt. I love the History Festival. What other festival umbrella brings together such a wide range of events and activities and experiences? The History Festival program has gotten around. You've seen 5 covers, all with the same content. It's gotten around quite a bit. It's quite unique with all its stories. But the best one I've heard so far was that the program was used as a prop in a state theatre production, most recently, called Every Brilliant Thing, where its contents were discussed between characters on stage doing an improvisation. My wife happened to be at the show, and so she texted me very enthusiastically and with glee, and I actually don't know whether our marketing team can even value that one. Maybe we will try though. Tonight we're celebrating the closing hours of the month-long statewide History Festival, but right now, as we are here tonight, there are other history festivals, history events taking place. There's an author and art talk with Thomas Murrell, an exhibition called Back to Sturt Street School. I believe that's at Sturt Street School. Remembering Holden, Servant or Slave screening and conversation with Jenny Caruso. And the Governor Highmar, the Gov, as everyone knows it, the icon and centre of live music, is holding an event tonight looking at its own history, which is called Over the Decades, from Corner Pub to Adelaide's Home of Live Music. So we're not celebrating the closing because I think we'll be closing about 7:30. These will still be going on, but we are in its final hours. We will soon switch to celebration of history with our longtime partners in history, the History Council of South Australia's History Awards. History 3 times there, well done. But before we do that, please welcome to the microphone the Honourable Jeff Brock MP. Minister Brock, over to you, please.
Thanks very much, Paul. First up, I'd just like to acknowledge the land we meet on today is the traditional lands of the Kaurna people, and that we recognise and respect their ongoing connection to country. And Cliffy, I would just like to thank you for your welcome to country. Absolutely fantastic. I'm a great believer and a great supporter of acknowledgement of our traditional owners in the state across, whether it's in Adelaide or in the regional areas. Thank you very much, Paul, for the opportunity, and as you can see, I'm the wounded person coming up here. But before I do go on to, I'd just like to acknowledge a couple of my parliamentary colleagues here. The Honourable David Spears, the Leader of the Opposition. David, I'm not too sure, I haven't seen you here tonight, but thanks, David, how are you? And also John Gardner, the Deputy Leader. G'day, John, how are you? And also I understand Karen Redman's here, the Mayor of Gawler. I'm seeing Karen, I was a bit late because of the traffic congestion. But also, I'd just like to also acknowledge our host tonight, Miss Elizabeth Ho, OAM, Chair of the Board of Trustees of the History Trust of South Australia, and her fellow board and trustee members present tonight. Dr. Gillian Dooley, Chair of the History Council of South Australia, and her fellow Executive Committee members of the History Council present tonight. And also Greg Mackey, OAM, CEO of the History Trust of South Australia. And also, Paul, you went through all the acknowledgements, and there was a lot of acknowledgements there, and because of the time frame, I won't go through those, but I want to acknowledge everybody that's here tonight, because that is very, very important, that, and I won't go through those because Paul has already done that. But I'm here tonight representing the Minister for Education, Blair Boyer, who can't be here tonight, and it's a great honour for me to be here. I'm a regional person, but certainly I'm very privileged to be here tonight to represent the Minister, and also working in connection with my parliamentary colleagues here, David and also John, and also Greg. I've known Greg for many, many years, and I won't say what Greg put into the email back to my Chief of Staff, my advisor, when he acknowledged that I was going to come. I will say it wasn't Minister, it was Brocky. So Greg, there we go. I know you're a long time, mate, so at the end of the day, it's very informal here tonight. We gather here tonight to celebrate our collective history as a state and as a community. Tonight's event is a celebration on two fronts, drawing South Australia's History Festival to a close for 2023, and also recognising leaders in the field of local history with the announcement of the History Council of South Australia's award recipients tonight. I'm looking forward to those recipients. It is my great pleasure, as I said earlier, to join you on these celebrations tonight, and looking forward to those recipients. South Australia's History Festival is an initiative of the History Trust of South Australia, starting in 2004 as a week-long celebration of all things historical, and has grown to now encompass the whole of May as a welcome addition to the South Australia's cultural calendar. I think that's a great achievement for the History Council of the Trust of South Australia. It's very important that we maintain our history, and we keep pushing that, and we keep maintaining it, and we need to keep promoting that for our future generations. This year, over 350 organisations across the whole state have come together to present over 520 events to the South Australian community. Of these events, 121 are regional, and because I'm a regional person, I really congratulate those numbers out there, because regional peoples deserve to have the same acknowledgement and the same opportunities to see the stuff that you see in metropolitan Adelaide and the suburbs of Adelaide here. These 121 regional events are approximately 23%. This does not include many events that take place on the edges of the metro and the regions. For example, Gawler, which is counted as outer metro. The importance of these regional events is not lost on me. I'm a very passionate regional person, and I'll make that quite clear when I'm talking to anyone at all. I'll keep promoting the regional areas as much as I can to ensure that they have the same opportunities to enjoy the same great facilities, great attractions that you people in South Australia, in the metropolitan area and the close proximities here enjoy here as part of your daily lives. As the State Minister for Veterans Affairs, I'm also pleased that 31 events in this year's History Festival were identified as military related in subject and content. These included a session offering people the opportunity to learn more about their family military history with members of the Military Research Group at Burnside Library, a lunch and talk presented by the Army Museum of South Australia Foundation, special tours of Loveday internment camp in Barmera, a talk on the Battle of the Coral Sea with Lieutenant Ron Reid, and an afternoon with the Narunga Volunteer Rifles, where people learned to load, aim and fire the famous pattern 1853 muzzle-loading rifle musket while wearing authentic style uniforms. I can just imagine that. To be able to do that, again, acknowledges the history of South Australia and the early years and the challenges and what we look at today, what was in those days there. I think it's very good that we actually keep going that. These wonderful events have been run by organisations like the History Trust, professional cultural institutions and individuals. The vast majority are made up from local historical societies, volunteer-run museums, and also, very importantly, not-for-profit organisations. Within the program, there have been history and heritage experiences as varied as are the stories of South Australia. From the cosmic through explorations of the night sky and the history of stargazing, to the deep time history and cultural stories of the land told through First Nations perspectives. I think that's very important. It's about the First Nations perspectives and the history. There have also been colonial history in all proximity and settler stories unique to South Australia. There have been political and economic history stories and explorations of some of the historic events and figures that define us today as a state and as a community. There have been ghosts and ghouls and crime, and explorations of time, space, and also place through our heritage buildings. As I mentioned earlier, akin to history itself, the festival is unimpeded by geographic boundaries, with events stretching over an enormous area of the state, from the Northern Flinders Ranges to the southern reaches of the state. Just over 50% of events were free of charge, and congratulate the organisations for doing that, because there are lots of people out there that would love to be able to do this because of economic situations, affordability. They should not be denied the opportunity to actually enjoy what others can enjoy as part of their normal life. Very importantly, 45% of events were completely new to the History Festival, and over 20% of events took place in the Adelaide CBD. 45% of the events were completely new. Again, that just goes to show the growth, the opportunities and the dedication of the History Trust of South Australia, where you are growing at all the times. You're not sitting there on your laurels to be able to just sit there on a plateau, do nothing more. Again, there is so much on offer, and it's a bit like a Fringe festival, but it's history, and that's very important. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are all very thankful we had a whole month to fill in as much as we could during that month. And thankfully, as it is an annual festival, I am very sure that 2024 will be even bigger and better. I'm looking forward to continuing my relationship with the History Trust of South Australia, the organisations, and also with Greg and others. And again, congratulations to everybody that's for the last 12 months. Best wishes for all the recipients tonight, and congratulations to everybody involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Brock. Lovely words. And now, no better way to celebrate the final hours of the History Festival than to give out a few awards. Well deserved. And to do that, please put your hands together for Dr. Gillian Dooley from the History Council, who will let us know who the lucky winners are.
It's a great honour to be here tonight at the end of History Festival celebration and this presentation of the awards. I won't go through welcome everybody, including all the honoured guests and everybody is special, yes, so congratulations for coming. I would like to just acknowledge a couple of people. I know there are a lot of people who weren't able to be here tonight, but I would like to acknowledge our wonderful, hardworking secretary, Yanni Cartledge, who is not well and wasn't able to be here tonight, and also our 2023 History Council Fellow, Maggie Bolt, was not able to come tonight. So I'm sorry that they're not able to be here, but I'm very glad to see plenty of people here. Thank you. So the History Council of South Australia, its role is to speak on behalf of all history and heritage issues, not only South Australian, or indeed not only Australian history, but that is obviously the interest of many member organisations. The History Council has a key advocacy role to represent and support its members by advocating to government and through the media. We celebrate and raise the profile of history by publishing articles and letters, hosting forums and lectures, and presenting these Historian of the Year awards. Distinguished speakers are invited to present the annual lecture, which is held often in a regional centre, as well sometimes as in Adelaide, so we like to alternate. The awards, as tonight, honour the achievements of South Australian historians annually, and we also administer the Wakefield Press Essay Prize, which Michael Bollen will be presenting later tonight, and the History Council Fellowship, which is in its, we're on our third fellow, yes, so that's really a wonderful program too, in partnership with the State Library. And we also share and support the events and news of our member organisations by publicising them on our website. So our members are both organisations, so all sorts of history organisations can join the History Council to be part of this community. So that's basically, we're an umbrella organisation to try and bring together all the history organisations, whether they're local volunteer-run museums or you know, whatever their scale. We're trying to bring everyone together to the table to be able to share their information, and so individuals and organisations can both join the History Council. So the awards. So these awards have been running for many years. The History Council itself is coming up for its 20th anniversary. We're working on a publication to celebrate our 20th anniversary, so that's very auspicious. But for tonight, we are going to present 6 awards, I think. Is that right? 6 or 7 awards. I'm sort of, it's hard to keep count sometimes. Anyway, so I'll call people up as they are listed. So firstly, we have the emerging historian, and the winner of the emerging historian is Lainey Anderson.
Hi, I'm Lainey Anderson, and I am the 2023 Emerging Historian of the Year. I'm thrilled to win this award because it reflects a growing appreciation for the Vickers Vimy aircraft out at Adelaide Airport. In 2016, I won a Churchill Fellowship to travel overseas and gauge the significance of the Vickers Vimy aircraft at Adelaide Airport and the first flight from England to Australia in 1919 by South Australia's Smith Brothers. Following my fellowship, I wrote a novel, Long Flight Home, and co-produced a documentary on the air race, presented and narrated by NASA astronaut Andy Thomas. I'd like to thank the Winston Churchill Trust for giving me a Churchill Fellowship in the first place. I'd like to thank the History Trust of South Australia, who made the Epic Flight Centenary in 2019 such an incredible event for South Australia. I'd like to thank Adelaide Airport and all the politicians who worked together to get the funding that we needed to relocate the plane, and all of the groups from the South Australian Aviation Museum to Air Force to RAF Association, you name it. So many people worked together to raise awareness about that fantastic Vickers Vimy and that first flight across the world from England to Australia. I would like to say a huge thanks to the History Council of South Australia and the judges for recognising me with this award, and also to the History Trust of South Australia for hosting tonight's event as part of South Australia's History Festival. Thank you.
So just an extract from the citation for the judge's citation for Lainey's award. Lainey's detailed and exhaustive research has ensured that the story and lives of these dedicated airmen will live on. So congratulations, Lainey. So there's your certificate and a token from Wakefield Press as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Wakefield Press.
So the next award is for excellence in oral history. There was we had a really wonderful field of nominations this year, and we were kind of spoilt for choice in a way, I think. I mean, the judges tell me that. I wasn't one of the judges. But the Excellence in Oral History project has gone to Ricky Koopman and Danny Reid from Mount Gambier. So they've come up all the way from Mount Gambier.
Hi, I'm Ricky Koopman.
And I'm Danny Reid.
And we're from the City of Mount Gambier Library.
And we're the winners of the 2023 Oral History Excellence Award.
We are pleased to win this award because we're both passionate about preserving the histories and memories of our community in new and innovative ways.
We're proud of using this modern format to take our treasured local history stories and make them appealing and accessible to new audiences, both locally and right across the globe.
We'd like to thank the City of Mount Gambier and especially our colleagues here at the Mount Gambier Library for supporting our work. We would also like to thank the community for sharing their stories with us.
We'd like to thank the History Council of South Australia and the judges for giving us this award, and the History Trust of South Australia for this awards evening as part of South Australia's History Festival.
So, extract from the citation, this joint award highlights the value and interest people have in the lives of local residents. The Don't Overdo It podcast, very clever, created and produced by Mount Gambier Library staff members, showcases library programs and events, as well as enhancing stories from Mount Gambier's past, creating a modern, engaging and accessible gateway to the physical items in the collection. So congratulations. So the next award is for digital technologies. So it's South Australian Digital Technologies History Award, it's called, and we're presenting it to Wayne Groom and Carolyn Billsborough.
Hi, my name is Carolyn Billsborough.
I'm Wayne Groom.
And we are very grateful to have won the award for Digital Technologies Awards for the work we've put into documentary filmmaking over the last 10 years.
It's been our pleasure over that 10 years to work with members of the local communities to assist them to tell their stories, to share their stories, unique stories with a national television audience.
We would very much like to thank the History Council of South Australia and particularly the judges for the work that they've put into this award ceremony. We would like to thank the History Trust of South Australia for hosting this event as part of South Australia's History Festival.
Over the past 10 years, so many people have helped us with our projects with donations and encouragement. Too many people to mention by name, but we send you our love. I would like to just say thank you to the Labour History Society of South Australia, because they sent us an email warning us that the deadline for applications was coming up. So without that, we wouldn't be here.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. So my little extract here says Wayne Groom and Dr. Carolyn Billsborough have since 2012 researched and produced 4 feature-length documentaries about Australian history, predominantly focused on South Australia. The team works on a not-for-profit basis and raised funds to cover the costs of each project. Their research and films documenting fading stories from the past have had a unique and positive impact on the communities with which they have worked. So congratulations, Wayne and Carolyn. So the next award is the contribution to South Australian Regional Community History Award, and that goes to Alan Jones.
I'm Alan Jones, the Regional Historian of the Year for 2023. This month is actually just on 50 years since I started research for my first history book, a history of the Coromolka district on York Peninsula, an area I'd lived in for a few years in the late 1960s. And I've since written another 9 books on parts of the rural areas of South Australia. I've worked with progress associations, district councils, centenary committees. I thank all of these bodies and the individuals and residents and former residents of the various districts that have helped with information, been very generous with information and time and lending photographs and all that sort of assistance. I also thank the History Council for this award, because it recognises not just me but all the other people beavering away in the rural areas, documenting and recording the history of their district.
The judges said that Alan's detailed and significant research is a valuable contribution to the history of South Australia's agricultural industries. He ensures he includes the sentiments of the locals while researching these regional histories using letters and interviews and local archives to capture their voice, which is a wonderful thing to do. So thank you. Congratulations. Now, the next category is lifelong historians, and the judges said that they struggled to separate 2 outstanding nominations, so consequently have made a joint award to Professor Peter Monteith and to Dr. Philip Jones.
My name is Philip Jones, and I'm the proud recipient of the History Council of South Australia's Lifelong Historian Award, which came as a surprise a couple of weeks ago. And I've pursued my historical research at the South Australian Museum over the last 40 years, generally looking at the history of Australian encounters on the frontier between Aboriginal and European people, but also looking at the history of the Afghan Cameleers, for example, and the history of anthropology in South Australia and Australia. So I'd like to thank firstly the History Council of South Australia for organising and hosting this event, and the judges for their discrimination. And I'd also like to thank, going back a long way, my mother for setting me on the path as a historian, the History Department at the University of Adelaide, and various institutions including the National Library, the South Australian Museum, and also Wakefield Press. My publisher Michael Bolton has been a key supporter over the years.
So the judges have said that apart from Philip's many publications, he has personally curated many exhibitions. He's been involved in numerous fieldwork and community consultations and evaluated and catalogued many important collections, and contributes to cultural and history-based societies and committees, and has produced a legacy of history research that allows students and the public to easily engage with exhibitions and displays, which is a wonderful thing. So congratulations, Phil.
I'm Peter Monteith. I'm Professor of History at Flinders University here in Adelaide, and I'm fortunate enough to be the recipient of the Lifelong Achievement Award presented to me by the History Council of South Australia. It's a South Australian award, of course. Originally I'm not from South Australia. I'm from Brisbane, and I've come to Adelaide via Germany and Victoria and Western Australia. And over that time, the kind of history I've done has changed quite a bit. Increasingly, it's South Australian connected, but it has international connections. and for someone who has a background in German studies, South Australia has indeed been a really good place to do some international history, to look at how South Australia connects with the rest of the world. I would like to think that I'm not finished with history yet. I've found South Australian history to be a fascinating area in which to work. There's lots that I've contributed to, but I would like to think much more to come as well. I would like finally to thank my nominators. I'd like to thank the judges for displaying their wisdom in making this choice, and I'd like to note also that I'm sharing the award with Philip Jones, and I feel myself to be in very elevated company because Philip has made a very significant contribution to South Australian history. So thank you. I'm really very appreciative of this acknowledgement of my contribution to South Australian history so far.
There you are. So I need to say my little thing about Peter too. He can't get away without me saying something. Peter has dedicated his outstanding academic and publishing career to engaging, researching and recording history ranging from the Spanish Civil War, I need my glasses on, that's better, colonialism in China to the local internment on Torrens Island during the Great War, and Matthew Flinders. Let's not forget Matthew Flinders, please. Peter's long-standing and meticulous research and publications are a remarkable example of dedication and professionalism for future historians to emulate. So congratulations again, Peter. Thank you.
I'm simply going to come up here and welcome the director and publisher, Wakefield Press, Michael Bollen, to come along and take over the mic. Michael. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Paul. Just a little moment, I think, for us all to acknowledge and thank Gillian Dooley, who's, well, she'll win the Lifetime Achievement someday, but a contributor not only to history but to literature generally, in so many fields. And you know, we talk about unsung heroes. Gillian, of course, is lauded worldwide, a prophet not known in her own land, but you know, whose contribution in my brief lifetime has been extraordinary to our cultural life in South Australia. So quick to Gillian Dooley, Dr. Gillian. Professor, maybe. Now, I'm allowed to give the award for the Wakefield Press History Prize. We've been really proud to have been involved with this prize for some years, as well as the other awards, and there are 2 nominations, and they both sound fascinating. I haven't been allowed to read them in case there was some sort of graft. But highly commended and not here this evening is Robin Dunlop for an essay with the most alluring and fascinating title, A Painted Landscape, Hans Hyson, Aruna and Aboriginal History in the Flinders Ranges, South Australia, 1927, my dad's birthday, to 1928. And the judges have said a well-considered and unique exploration into the complexities of European and Indigenous perspective, the iconic Flinders Range, I'm not going to say iconic, it's a cliche, of the Flinders Ranges landscape and its representation in art history. So congratulations to Robin Dunlop in the absentia. And now the winner is Susan Artur, and Susan's essay, which I'm begging to read, is called Rage and Resistance, Remembering the Women of Baker's Flat. And the Baker's Flat women, apparently unimpeded by threats of yet to be legislated $50,000 Susan has written a powerful and thoroughly researched revelation of the Irish women who fiercely defended their homes at Baker's Flat in the late 19th century. The original research provides a refreshing insight into the names, lives and circumstances of these usually anonymous women who successfully contested the power of the dominant male establishment figures. And the judges have said an important new perspective on property rights, gender and Irish diaspora in South Australian history. So congratulations, Susan.
Hi, my name is Susan Arthur and I'm the winner of the Wakefield Press Essay Prize for 2023. My essay is about the Irish women of Baker's Flat in the late 1800s who fiercely defended their homes and land from some of the most powerful men in the colonial establishment. And this award means that information about their names, their lives, their victories will be much more publicly available, which is really important for the story of Irish migration to South Australia. I'd like to thank the History Council of South Australia, Wakefield Press and the judges for selecting me for this award, and the History Trust of South Australia for hosting the awards night as part of South Australia's History Festival.
Okay, it remains to me to congratulate and talk about Stephen Oppies, is that right, Stephen? Oppies, sorry. The winner of the Historian of the Year award.
Thank you to the History Council of South Australia for bestowing this great honour on me for the history play of Auburn. The idea for the play started with an article written by local Auburn historian Kay Lambert about Madge Yateman, a volunteer nurse in the Great War. On reading the article, my creative partner Jean-Marc Spiller posed the question, could we stage a production that brought together Yateman and another Auburn notable, C.J. Dennis, for the Auburn French Fest? Then followed research that called on my experience as a research assistant at Louisiana State University, writing and rewriting following critique from my lovely wife Erica, daughter-in-law Mel's, who is a scriptwriter, and others. Synchronicity stepped in when I found a director, Dr. Lisa Harper Campbell, whose special interest is wartime France, and she in turn found a fabulous cast. In closing, I also thank all who believed in Of Auburn for their support.
Congratulations, Stephen. The judges say Stephen has brought together disparate aspects of performance to highlight and capture the beautiful and rich history of stories and poetry from the Great War. The play of Auburn uniquely combines theatre, poetry, personal testimony, live music combined with audiovisual technology to tell the stories of volunteer nurses. The title bears the name of the birthplace of South Australia of Yateman and Dennis. The detailed research is highlighted through unique engagement with local and world history. So congratulations, Stephen. And here is your certificate. And back to Paul.
Thank you, Gillian. Yes, it's we're drawn to a close. Now I just got to find my part. Where am I now? Yes, and before I go to our next speaker, I just want to acknowledge Dr. Gillian Dooley again. Thank you, and the relationship we have with the History Council is deep and meaningful and will hopefully continue, and it's a wonderful way to close off the festival. So congratulations to all the winners. You're very deserving. I also would like to just do a quick shout out. They're not here, not all of them, some of them are here, but the event organisers. 522 events that happened across the state, and they're still going on tonight, as we mentioned. That's a lot. There's a lot of volunteers There's a lot of blood, sweat, tears, thinking, imagining, when set the challenge of the theme for this year of wonder, how they can fit that in. And it can be just a title adjustment, but also it can be deeply into the storytelling that they can go. So the event organizers are just amazing. And, you know, so we can give them a round of applause, even though they're not here. They will hear us. They will hear us. Now, this is the bit that I strangely really enjoy, because I want to acknowledge all of our sponsors and partners that make the History Festival come alive. And I would like to encourage you, where you can, to help and be part of these businesses, these organizations, and make them know, let them know that you're appreciative of their efforts by either buying products from them, using their services, or just telling them, thank you, well done, nice wise choice to support the History Festival. And they are the presenting partner, Freemasons South Australia and Northern Territory. Major partner, the City of Adelaide. Our distribution partner, Foodland Supermarkets. That's easy. That's an easy one. Just buy stuff from them. Okay. Marland Office Furniture, Botanic Gardens and State Herbarium. Now, just go back to the Marland Office Furniture. They've got a museum right next door called the Shark Museum. That's why they're in there, because the owner of the Marland Office Furniture loves sharks, and he's opened a shark museum. So we welcome him, and we welcome his support as well. Their support of Marland Office Furniture. Botanic Gardens and State Herbarium. We have the Multicultural Communities Council of South Australia, who support us with one of our focus programs called From Many Places. We have the wonderful staff and great supporters at the Office of Ageing, the Office of Ageing Well, and Seniors Card, and that's what I'm not doing tonight. It's not aging well, my voice is going. So the Office of Ageing Well and Seniors Card, the Government of South Australia, and SA Health. And they support the Open Doors program, which is focused around buildings and heritage buildings, and a lot of these buildings aren't accessible unless you're in the month of May and you're in the History Festival. Of course, you're tasting it tonight, the wine partner, Penfolds, yum yum. Torrance Press, our media partners, Channel 44, who are out in force here tonight, and you'll be seeing this content later and throughout the whole year, hopefully. Channel 44 and Weekend Plus. So if you can just, there are a few of the partners that are in the room tonight, if you can just sort of give them a round of applause, please. The drinks aren't too far off now. We are coming to a close, but we have a very special announcement to make. And to make that announcement, I'd like to welcome Dr. Kira Lindsay, please.
Thanks, Paul. G'day, everybody. My name is Dr. Kira Lindsay. I'm the History Advocate of South Australia, so please come and tune my ear about things that matter to you. I work at the History Trust of South Australia, so you can find me there, and my job is to advocate with you and for you. We're all advocates for the history that we love so much. Tonight I have the great honour of introducing to you special people the theme for the 2024 History Festival. It's a little bit of a riddle. Something might have given it away earlier, but I want you to try and imagine what it is. I've got a little bit of a riddle for you to set your minds thinking so you can start to be creative and critical in your imaginings and get ready for an even more fabulous festival next year, if that's possible, Paul. So, start thinking. Thinking caps on. What is invisible but instantly felt? What do institutions often wield over individuals? And some politicians, not you, Jeff, some politicians grasp onto desperately. It is a force so valuable it can make those who possess it delirious and dangerous. Some flirt with it and others flaunt it, while others are so fearful of it they give theirs away. It is both tangible and intangible, mysterious and material. Has anybody guessed? Power! Power is the theme of the 2024 History Festival of South Australia. Power has shaped the past in myriad ways and continues to drive our lives today, whether it is the power of the people, yay! Whether it is flower power or absolute power corrupting absolutely. The forms of power which ignited the light bulbs and the batteries which have changed our homes and our working lives. Or those wonderful new forms of solar, wind and water power which promise to transform our futures. The power of the many or the power of the one. Stories of how the disempowered have overpowered injustice and that inarguable power of truth. All that wonderful thing that makes the world go round, as Huey Lewis and Frankie Goes to Hollywood once both sang, the power of love. In 2024, the History Festival invites you to tap into your inner power, to explore the many secrets and shades and stories and songs which can reveal how power has always shaped South Australia. So, let's get excited, let's get inspired, and we'll see you in 2024. Thank you.
Thanks, Kira. Brilliant. And I love the theme. So this year's theme was Wonder for 2023, and next year's is Power. We are about 8 months ahead of time in announcing the theme. So we are expecting quite a bit of thought going into it and some great projects coming out. So we've come to the end, and it's time to just sit back and relax and have a few drinks with a few friends. But can you just indulge me one moment, if I can? Dane Wilden, would you mind coming up here? And Suze Redman, and Jazz Armstrong. Where are you, please? Yeah. Just stand here, please. So we've talked about the volunteers and the organisations across the state and the many people who put many hours in. The History Trust as well is a large group, a large organisation with lots of people who've put a lot of skin in the game for the History Festival. But I just want to take the opportunity to embarrass these three, because these are the powerhouse. These are the people who keep this thing ticking along. They troubleshoot, they nurse, they care, and they bring the History Festival to life. So a big round of applause if you can, please. Thank you. Yeah. No worries, thank you. Thank you. Enjoy some drinks and enjoy your company and everyone else's. Thank you very much.